Good day to everyone. We are excited to share with you this life cycle of an HR person. First is the introduction about this field, so kindly watch this video and learn from this. Human Resource Management. We're going to talk about its definition and learn more about this. Shall we start? The foundation for this undertaking was laid by Wesley Chase Rick. The process of recruiting, hiring, deploying, and managing employees in a company is known as Human Resource Management, or HR. An organization's HR department is also responsible for designing, implementing, and managing policies that govern employees and the company's interaction with them. HR, or Human Resources, was first coined in the early 19th and became more often used in the 1960s to refer to a collection of people who work for a corporation. People are a company's asset, and it's crucial to remember that employees refer to human capital. The second definition is based on a book, Human Resource Management, or HRM, and Human Resources HR are interchangeable for the term personnel management. According to 10th edition, a handbook of human resource management practice. The last definition is provided for this term is, according to MBA Central, a Ventures company, human resource specialist is in charge of managing the firm's people. We have only one HR person through other tiny firms. But some may sustain entire departments. On the other hand, the role of the HR manager is, according to most people, an organization's most valuable resource. Employee benefits, retirement programs, and health insurance can all be managed. Now, we will discuss the 7 functions of HR. Just relax and learn more. HRM progresses through 3 distinct stages: business function, business partner, and strategic partner. Value and leadership potential, top talent, company goals, employee retention rate, and long-term manageability of association with leadership and the HR department can all increase. In any case, the HR department will be held accountable for any excesses. According to the authors of OLX People, here are the functions of HR. The first function of human resource is job design and job analysis. The design of the job, which comprises the entire process of operation in the job, is the first function of HRM. Because the qualified employees is chosen and employed people based on qualifications and reasons. It is vital to understand the personality of the qualified applicant who is suitable for the job and position. Another task is to determine what qualifications are required to be qualified for a specific job. The other is job analysis, which covers the job requirements such as an applicant's skills, qualifications, and work experiences. The importance of day-to-day functions must be outlined in great detail. The next function is employees hiring and selection. Recruitment is critical in human resource management because it ensures that the organization's goals and objectives are met by hiring and retaining qualified and capable people. It will begin with selecting the ideal individuals to become your employees, followed by screening, interviewing, and selection to determine which applicants are not qualified. Then, after deciding which of them we want, we'll have another interview and be informed of the sort of employment and available position. And this is a procedure that must be understood in order to achieve our objectives. The third function is employee training and development. A vital job of HR is to implement training for employees and to ensure that those selected candidates receive development. Because the growth and development of each employee is for the benefit of the organization's success. HR must ensure the new hires have sufficient knowledge to carry out their job duties. It will boost the workforce's overall efficiency and productivity, resulting in positive outcomes for the business or organization. The next function is about compensation and benefits. This is for taxes, wages, and the company's overall expenses, as well as to compensate employees for their work. Propose fair compensation that will motivate employees to work hard and contribute to the company's success without jeopardizing its finances. The goal is to pay appropriately and fairly, and as well as to provide incentives. Another aspect that influences employees' productivity is the HR department's ability to establish adequate regulations and clear guidelines for employee compensation. It will eventually have an impact on employee satisfaction with a range of total compensation that they will receive. Let's now move to the next function, which is important: employee performance management. This will validate that the employees' completed tasks satisfy the organization's goals and objectives. And it will not only focus on employees' performance, but also on the performance of the team, the department, and the company as a whole. There are 7 guidelines under performance management functions, and those include the following. This next function is necessary for the company or organization. Managerial relations. Managerial relations determine how to shift the workforce to meet goals based on the amount of work that must be completed in a day. HR handles such relationships properly and efficiently for productivity, giving the project's right tasks to the correct set of individuals and putting an end to its managerial relations. The link between the workforce and the corporation is known as labor relations, whereas the relationship between the various organizational processes is known as managerial relations. We'll also go through this and other functions, which is labor relations. It is an affectionate relationship to maintain a good tie between employees at work. It is necessary to have effective labor relation norms, regulations, and policies in place. In order to have a good working relationship, each employee will be informed and aware of the policies. A calm, pleasant scenery, and work environment will aid in improving each employee's performance.
So now, let's talk about HR rules and responsibilities. Let's begin first with HR rules. According to the book of Beginning Management of Human Resources by Laura Portoles Diaz, we have main rules that play an important role in every organizations that most experts agree on. These are the following. First is staffing. Staffing is one of the major duties in HRM, which involves posting a job to negotiate a wage package. It encompasses the full employment process. There are 4 basic steps in the staffing process that you need to remember. First is the development of a staffing plan. Next is the development of policies to encourage multiculturalism at work. Another is the recruitment. And last is the selection. Next is development of workplace policies. One of the HRM's responsibilities is to create the language that will be used to describe these policies. The following are few examples of workplace policies, such as discipline process policy, dress code, ethics policy, and internet usage policy. Another is compensation and benefits administration. HRM professionals must ensure that the remuneration is equivalent to that of other employees performing similar professions. This entails establishing pay structures that take into account the amount of years spent with the company, years of experience, education, and other factors. The following are some examples of employee compensation. Next, we have retention. Employee retention defines that which entails keeping and motivating employees to stay with the company. It is influenced by a variety of factors, including compensation. The following are the reasons why 90% of employees leave the company, such as issues around the job they are performing, challenges with their manager, poor fit with organizational culture, and last, poor workplace environment. Then, the fifth role is training and development. We want to make sure that once we've taken the effort to hire new staff, they're not just trained to do the job, but also continue to grow and develop new talents. As a result, the company's productivity increases. Employee motivation is also aided by proper training. Some examples of training programs. Also, we have dealing with laws affecting employment. Human resource professionals must be knowledgeable about all workplace laws. Some of the laws may be encountered by an HR professionals are discrimination laws, healthcare requirements, compensation requirements such as the minimum wage, and worker safety laws and labor laws as well. Aside from that is the worker protection. In every organization, safety is a top priority. It's the responsibility of the human resource manager to be informed of worker protection regulations. The following are examples of worker protections issues. So, another one is communication. Aside from these core functions, effective communication and management abilities are essential for successful human resource management and general management. At last is the awareness of external factors. Outside forces, also known as external factors, are those over which the organizations has no direct influence but which may have a good or negative impact on human resources. These are the following examples of external factors. So now, we're going to discuss the continuation of the topic, which is HR responsibilities. Let's begin with the introduction of HR responsibilities. According to Ryan Ayers, the position of the HR executives is changing today to correspond with more forward-thinking methods. Human resource executives in today's world must contribute ideas and lead organizations in achieving corporate goals. The following are the 7 HR responsibilities we see in today's workplace. Let's start with participate in planning and development. Human resource executives are strategic partners in today's marketplace. They are involved in the identification, formulation, and implementation of company goals, provide employees with career assistance. Modern human resource specialists assist workers in identifying areas for growth and developing specific action plans rather than just ranking them on a checklist of performance indicators. Another responsibility is find and recruit employees that advance company objectives. To fill open positions, today's human resource executives do more than place advertising and conduct interviews. Employer brands are created by human resource executives in order to attract the best job seekers. Human resource managers have the job of promoting their companies as excellent places to work. Next is serve as leaders of change. In today's workplace, the human resource professionals' responsibilities include shaping organizational culture, maintaining employee satisfaction, and assessing the success of change projects. And the fifth responsibilities is advocate for employees. Human resource specialists help to create a work environment where employees are satisfied and driven, and followed by provide support for domestic violence victims. Human resource professionals today advise persons who have been victims of domestic abuse to seek support at work. Human resource professionals establish an organizational culture in which employees do not feel intimidated or humiliated to approach HR employees with concerns about domestic violence. Lastly, they ensure no cyberbullying at work. Until recently, occupational intimidation was limited to the office. Employees and managers are aware that cyberbullying can occur in the workplace, yet dealing with workplace cyberbullying can be difficult. Despite this, today's human resource executives work hard to eliminate negative behavior in the workplace.
At this point, here's another topic that HR doesn't use in any organization, an HRIS, which stands for Human Resources Information System. So, is HRIS necessary? According to Eric Van Balfen of AIHR Academy, the HRIS is a data collection and a storage system for an organization's personnel. In most cases, an HRIS includes all of the essential features required for an end-to-end HR management or HRM. It is a system for recruitment, performance management, training and development, and more. HRIS software is another term for HRIS. This is a bit confusing as it implies that various systems can have different software running on them. This is, however, is not the case. The HRIS is in essence an HR software package. Let us learn now the benefits of an HRIS. Those are record keeping, compliance, efficiency, HR strategy, and self-service HR. Let's proceed first, the record keeping. An HRIS is a record-keeping system that keeps track of any changes to employee information. When it comes to personnel data, the HRIS can be considered the one source of truth. Next benefit is compliance. For compliance purposes, some data is gathered and retained. This compromises materials for identifying employees in the event of theft, fraud, or other misbehaviors. First contact information in the event of an accident, citizens' identification information for the tax office, and mandatory certification expiration dates. All of this data can be saved in the HRIS. Data must be restored safely. Another is the efficiency. Having all of this data in one location not only improves accuracy but it also saves time. Some businesses still store a lot of information about their employees on a paper. It can take a lot of time for the staff to find the proper folder and the right sheet. And the fourth one is HR strategy. The HRIS allows data to be tracked in order to develop HR and company strategies. Different data will be necessary to track depending on the organization priorities. This is where the HRIS comes into its own. The ability to provide self-service HR to employees and managers is a last benefit. Employers are able to manage their own affairs as a result of this. When implemented correctly, the HRIS can provide a positive employee experience. Keep in mind that not all HRIS systems provide this is an easy-to-use format. Working with an HRIS has numerous advantages for the company, HR, and employees. When you have 30 to 50 employees, using an HRIS becomes attractive. Managing this fundamental data in Excel becomes onerous at this point. And simple operations like granting employee vacations must be standardized. Large firms, which often utilize more advanced HRIS system to serve many HR services, benefit the most from using an HRIS. A more basic HRIS would be appropriate for small businesses.
And now, let us proceed and learn about the Labor Code of the Philippines. The references of the compiled list about these basic labor rights here in the Philippines, which I will be presenting, is from the website of the Bureau of Working Conditions, as well as the compiled list is also on the website of the Official Gazette. Let's begin now to learn these basic labor rights. For number 1, we have equal work opportunities for all. So what should our state do to ensure to have equal work opportunities for all? As mentioned on the website of Bureau of Working Conditions, the state shall protect labor, promote full employment, provide equal work opportunity regardless of gender, race, or creed, and regulate employee-employer relations. Male and female employees are entitled to equal compensation for work of equal value and to equal access to promotion and training opportunities. Discrimination against female employees is unlawful. For number 2, let us proceed now to security of tenure. As stated on the website of Bureau of Working Conditions, every employee shall be assured security of tenure. No employee can be dismissed from work except for a just or authorized cause, and only after due process. Just or authorized cause? What are the meanings of these terms? Let us first define the term just cause. The website of Bureau of Working Conditions states that just cause refers to any wrongdoing committed by an employee, including serious misconduct, willful disobedience of employer's lawful orders connected with work, gross and habitual neglect of duty, fraud or willful breach of trust, commission of crime or offense against the employer, employer's family members or representative, other analogous cases. On the other hand, authorized cause refers to an economic circumstance not due to the employee's fault, including the introduction of labor-saving devices, redundancy, retrenchment to prevent losses, closure or cessation of business. The next labor rights we will talk about is workdays and work hours. Here in the Philippines, Article 83, Normal Hours of Work. The normal hours of work of any employee shall not exceed 8 hours a day. Article 84, Hours Work. Hours work shall include all time during which an employee is required to be on duty or to be at a prescribed workplace, and all time during which an employee is suffering or permitted to work. Rest periods of short duration during working hours will be counted as hours worked. Article 85, Meal periods. Subject to such regulations as the Secretary of Labor may prescribe, it shall be the duty of every employer to give his employees not less than 60 minutes time off for their regular meals. Article 86, Night Shift Differential. Every employee shall be paid a night shift differential of not less than 10% of his regular wage for each hour of work performed between 10 o'clock in the evening and 6 o'clock in the morning. Article 87, Overtime Work. Work may be performed beyond 8 hours a day provided that the employee is paid for the overtime work. An additional compensation equivalent to his regular wage plus at least 25% thereof. Work performed beyond 8 hours on a holiday or rest day shall be paid on additional compensation equivalent to the rate of the first 8 hours on a holiday or rest day plus at least 30% thereof. For the next labor rights we will talk about, we have for number 4, weekly rest day. Article 91 of the Labor Code of the Philippines is right to weekly rest day. It shall be the duty of every employer, whether operating for profit or not, to provide each of his employees a rest period of not less than 24 consecutive hours after every 6 consecutive normal work days. The employer shall determine and schedule the weekly rest day of his employees subject to collective bargaining agreement and to such rules and regulations as the Secretary of Labor and Employment may provide. However, the employer shall respect the preference of employees as to their weekly rest day when such preference is based on religious grounds. Number 5, wage and wage-related benefits. As stated on the website of Bureau of Working Conditions, wage is the amount paid to an employee in exchange for a task, piece of work, or service rendered to an employer. This includes overtime, night differential, rest day, holiday, and 13th month pay. Wage may be fixed for a given period as when it is computed hourly, daily, or monthly. Now, let's talk about for number 6, payment of wages. To give brief information about rights of employees about payment of wages, it is stated on the website of Official Gazette that wages should be paid directly to the employee in cash, legal tender, or through a bank. Wages shall be given not less than once every 2 weeks or twice within a month at intervals not exceeding 16 days. Article 102, Forms of Payment. No employer shall pay the wages of an employee by means of promissory notes, vouchers, coupons, tokens, tickets, cheats, or any object other than legal tender, even when expressly requested by the employee. Article 103, Time of Payment. Wages shall be paid at least once every 2 weeks or twice a month at intervals not exceeding 16 days. If on account of force majeure or circumstances beyond the employer's control, payment of wages on or within the time herein provided cannot be made, the employer shall pay the wages immediately after such force majeure or circumstances have ceased. No employer shall make payment with less frequency than once a month. Article 104, Place of Payment. Payment of wages shall be made at or near the place of undertaking, except as otherwise provided by such regulations as the Secretary of Labor and Employment may prescribe, under conditions to ensure greater protection of wages. For the number 7 in our list, we have employment of women. To ensure the safety and health of women employees, as stated on the website of Bureau of Working Conditions, welfare facilities must be installed at the workplace, such as seats, separate toilet rooms, lavatories, and dressing rooms. Number 8. Employment of children. It is on the website of the Bureau of Workers with Special Concerns, the Article 137 of the Labor Code of the Philippines, which is about the minimum employable age. No child below 15 years of age shall be employed, except when he works directly under the sole responsibility of his parents or guardian, and his employment does not in any way interfere with his schooling. Any person between 15 and 18 years of age may be employed for such a number of hours and such periods of the day as determined by the Secretary of Labor and Employment in appropriate regulations. The foregoing provisions shall in no case allow the employment of a person below 18 years of age in an undertaking which is hazardous or deleterious in nature as determined by the Secretary of Labor and Employment. For number 9, let's talk about the rights of employees. About safe working conditions. On the website of Bureau of Working Conditions, it states that employers must provide workers with every kind of on-the-job protection against injury, sickness, or death through safe and healthful working conditions. And for the last topic about these basic labor rights of the Philippines, let us learn about number 10, right to self-organization and collective bargaining. As explained by the Bureau of Working Conditions on their website, the right to self-organization is the right of every worker, free of any interference from the employer or from government, to form or join any legitimate workers' organization, association, or union of his or her own choice, except those classified as managerial or confidential employees. All employees may form or join unions for purposes of collective bargaining and other legitimate concerted activities. An employee is eligible for membership in an appropriate union on the first day of his or her employment. What is collective bargaining? Do you think it is important in a workplace? According to the website of the Official Gazette, collective bargaining is a process between two parties, namely the employer and the union, where the terms and conditions of employment are fixed and agreed upon. In collective bargaining, the two parties also decide upon a method for resolving grievances. Collective bargaining results in a contract called a collective bargaining agreement.